You ever get that feeling like you finally found the one? Yeah, I had that. I went all in and married this ridiculously mesmerizing woman named Victoria. And when I say mesmerizing, I mean the kind of person who could walk into any room and instantly become the center of attention. She had this magnetic energy, people just flocked to her. You know the type, sharp, full of life, the kind of charm that sneaks up on you and pulls you in. I was completely, hopelessly hooked. But here's the thing, maybe we jumped into marriage a little too fast. You know how it is in the honeymoon phase, everything feels perfect, and you brush off the little things. But those little things? Yeah, they don't just disappear. If anything, they grow. Trust me, you'll see what I mean soon enough. At the time, we were both young, driven, and eager to make something of our lives. I had just landed an incredible job, one I'd been chasing for what felt like forever, and I was ready to lay down some real roots. Career, marriage, the whole deal. Everything seemed to be falling into place. We even found this amazing rental, practically a dream home. Perfect lawn, spacious rooms, huge windows that let in all the natural light, and a backyard just begging for summer barbecues. It felt like a brand new chapter. To celebrate, we decided to throw a housewarming party, get some friends together, fire up the grill, crack open a few beers. Just a night to kick back and soak it all in. And that's when things started getting interesting. See, right before the party, Victoria and I had a bit of a disagreement. Actually, scratch that, it was a full-on standoff. It all started with cars. Both of ours were on their last legs, embarrassing, really. We both agreed it was time for an upgrade, maybe even take out a loan to get something new. Seemed simple enough, right? Yeah, nope. I had my heart set on a Toyota 4Runner, a solid, reliable SUV. I could already see us packing it up for road trips, throwing in all our camping gear without a second thought. Practical, spacious, built for anything life threw our way. To me, it just made sense. Victoria? Oh, she had very different ideas. She wanted something flashy. A sports car. A convertible. Her reasoning? Life's too short to drive boring cars. She wasn't thinking about practicality, she wanted something that would turn heads, something that would make people talk. And just like that, we were locked in this back and forth, neither of us willing to budge. We weren't shouting or anything, but the air was thick with tension. Eventually, we decided to call a truce. Put the conversation on ice until after the party. But here's the thing about Victoria, compromise? Yeah, not exactly her strong suit. When she set her mind on something, she would find a way to get it, one way or another. I thought we'd pressed pause on the argument. Oh man, was I wrong. Fast forward a few hours. The party was in full swing. The house was alive, music, laughter, clinking glasses, the smell of barbecue filling the air. I started to relax, thinking maybe we'd dodged a bullet. Everything felt easy, fun. Just the way I'd hoped. What I didn't know was that Victoria had a plan. And let me tell you, what happened next. It hit me like a ton of bricks. At first, the night was going perfectly. People were laughing, music was playing, the grill was heating up. A couple of beers in, and everyone was loose, swapping stories about travel, movies, and, who even knows, some heated debate about the best barbecue sauce. The kind of effortless, good time vibe I'd been counting on. And then Victoria, oh, she just couldn't help herself. I caught that look in her eye. You know the one, the watch this look. And oh man, she delivered. Victoria poured herself another generous glass of wine, let out this exaggerated sigh, like she'd just endured some life-altering tragedy, and then, loud enough for the entire backyard to hear, she dropped the bomb. So, Daniel and I got into this huge fight about cars the other day. I swear, we nearly murdered each other. We just cannot agree, and honestly, I have no idea how we're gonna solve this one. The chatter in the backyard quieted down a little. Because let's be real, everyone loves a little drama. And Victoria? Oh, she lived for an audience. I wanted something sleek, something with style, like a convertible. You know, the kind of car where you feel the wind in your hair, the sun on your face? Freedom. But Daniel? Oh no, he's all about practicality. We need a big car, he says. Something spacious. She tossed her hair back and rolled her eyes with the kind of dramatic flair that could win awards. Then, lifting her glass like she was making a toast, she went in for the kill. We all know why men want these massive cars. It's classic overcompensation. The bigger the vehicle, the smaller well, I think we all know what I'm talking about. The backyard erupted in laughter. One guy slapped the table and shouted, "Exactly why I drive a smart car, if you catch my drift." I could feel my face heating up, but I forced a tight smile. And Victoria? She wasn't done yet. Oh no. She was just getting started. With a mischievous glint in her eye, she glanced at the snack table, plucked up a tiny pickle, and held it up for the whole party to see. That was it. The crowd lost it. Then, just to twist the knife, she added, "For example, this right here, is exactly what we're dealing with when guys roll up in those giant trucks." People were practically crying from laughter. I saw one of my friends actually fall out of his chair. And Victoria? Oh, she was in her element. She held the pickle close to her face, switched to a high-pitched voice, and gave it a little performance. Oh no. I need to compensate. I need cover. Oh God, it's a Toyota 4Runner, maybe now everyone will respect my size. The laughter somehow got even louder. Even Emma, her best friend, was wiping away tears. "Victoria, you have to start doing stand-up," she gasped between breaths. Meanwhile, I was sitting there, jaw clenched so hard I thought I might break a tooth. Inside? I was boiling. But the humiliation train? Yeah, it wasn't making any stops. That's when Brittany, one of Victoria's friends, and never one to miss an opportunity to stir the pot, pulled out her phone, scrolled through her feed, and with a sly grin, announced. "Oh honey, if the issue is that small, don't worry, there's a fix for that. Look, here's a plastic surgeon who specializes in, enhancements. 5 stars. Tons of followers." The guys at the party were practically on the floor at this point. One of them wheezed out. "Daniel, maybe it's time to book a consultation." And Victoria? Oh, she didn't miss a beat. She smirked, raised an eyebrow, and said, "Well, first we have to buy my dream convertible. But hey, maybe one day. In the meantime, my therapist says I need to work on patience. So, I guess I'll just have to wait until we pay off the car loan." More laughter. More jokes. I felt like I was standing in front of a firing squad. I couldn't sit there another second. I needed to get out of there before I said something I couldn't take back. So I got up, walked over to the grill, and started messing with the barbecue. Just something, anything, to keep myself from losing it. But of course, someone had to follow me. Tyler, always the jokester, wandered over, still chuckling like an idiot. "Hey man, don't take it so seriously. We're just messing around. You good?" I didn't even glance at him. Just focused on flipping the burgers, my jaw still tight. "Yeah. Fine. Totally fine." Tyler laughed, gave me a hard clap on the shoulder, and grinned. "Come on, dude, don't be like that. You're the king of pickles now." And that did it. I spun around, my blood boiling, and snapped, "You can all go to hell. I'm fine, all right? There's nothing wrong with me." Tyler just grinned, completely unfazed. Yeah, yeah. We believe you, Mr. Pickle. Laughter echoed from inside the house. My fists clenched on their own. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was humiliated. And the worst part? The one person who was supposed to have my back was the one leading the damn charge. But this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I don't even know how I made it through the rest of that party without snapping. Every second felt like some kind of endurance test. People kept slapping me on the back, throwing out more stupid jokes, smirking like it was all just good fun. I nodded. Forced a chuckle. Bit my tongue so hard it was a miracle I didn't taste blood. Finally, the last guest walked out the door. The second it shut, I turned to Victoria, my hands still shaking from holding in the rage. What the hell was that? My voice was low, but it was trembling with anger. Why would you do that to me? Why would you humiliate me like that in front of everyone? Victoria blinked at me, looking as unbothered as ever, like I'd just asked her something as trivial as what we were having for dinner. She didn't look guilty. She didn't even look like she understood why I was upset. Instead, she just smirked, lazily shrugging. Oh, come on, Daniel. It was just jokes. Everyone was having fun. I stared at her like I didn't even recognize the woman in front of me. Fun? I echoed. You call that fun? You turned me into a goddamn punchline, Victoria. She sighed, like I was the one ruining the night. Then, with that same casual, dismissive tone, she added. Well, at least everyone understood the whole big car metaphor. So I hope you get it now, we need a convertible. I froze. My jaw practically hit the floor. That was it? That's what this was all about? She dragged me through the mud in front of all our friends, mocked me, embarrassed me, just to push her little agenda for a new car? The rage inside me hit a whole new level. Wait a damn minute, I said, my voice steady but dangerous. So you're telling me, all that was just your way of convincing me to buy a convertible? That was your big plan? She let out a tired chuckle, waving a hand like I was making a big deal out of nothing. Oh, Daniel, stop being so dramatic. She rolled her eyes. It was funny. Everyone was laughing. You need to relax and learn how to take a joke for once. I clenched my jaw so tight it ached. Take a joke? I shot back. Victoria, you didn't just joke around. You destroyed me. You made me look like some insecure loser, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. She let out an exasperated sigh, looking at me like I was exhausting her. Oh, please. It's not like I lied. And then she smirked. I mean, I've seen bigger. The room went silent. It felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Everything inside me just stopped. My hands went numb. My breath caught in my throat. And then, slowly, I asked, what did you just say? Victoria let out a nervous little laugh and waved me off like it was nothing. Oh, relax. I'm joking. Don't take it so seriously. God, you're so wound up tonight. Joking, I repeated, my head shaking. You think this is funny? My voice was quieter now, but it wasn't weak. It was lethal. Do you even hear yourself? You think it's fun to tear your own husband down in front of everyone? To make me look like some kind of pathetic joke? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. When you humiliate me, Victoria, you humiliate yourself. You're not just disrespecting me, you're disrespecting our marriage. And your jokes? They're not jokes. They're insults. You crossed a line tonight. For a split second, I thought, just maybe, she'd actually get it. That maybe she'd realize how far she'd gone. That maybe she'd apologize. But no. Instead, she let out a long, dramatic yawn, then gave me this bored look like she was done with the conversation. "Oh, stop whining, Daniel," she muttered, stretching her arms. "I'm exhausted. Let's just go to bed, okay? And seriously, man up. I don't need a lecture right now." And with that, she turned and headed up the stairs, leaving me standing there like a complete idiot. My fists curled at my sides. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I stayed right where I was, fuming, my feet planted in the middle of the living room. There was no way in hell I was sharing a bed with her tonight. That I grabbed a blanket, threw myself onto the couch, and just stared at the ceiling. My mind wouldn't stop racing. This wasn't the Victoria I thought I married. Or maybe it was. Maybe I had just been too blind to see it before. The woman I fell for, the fun, charming, magnetic person who could light up any room, was gone. And in her place? Someone cold. Dismissive. Ruthless. It felt like the mask had finally slipped. And what I saw underneath wasn't pretty. For the first time, I started questioning everything. How far would she take this next time? What else was she capable of? The thought sent a shiver down my spine. I buried my face in my hands and let out a long, shaky breath. What the hell did I get myself into? I muttered to no one. Sleep didn't come easy that night. Victoria's smug face, the sound of her voice. "I've seen bigger." It played over and over in my head, looping like a broken record. The aftermath. The days after that party felt heavy, like I was dragging some invisible weight everywhere I went. Victoria's words, and that damn pickle joke, kept creeping back into my mind at the worst possible moments. But I didn't bring it up again. I couldn't. Work had piled up, and I was drowning in deadlines. I figured maybe some space would help cool things down between us. Maybe she'd realize she crossed a line. Spoiler alert, she didn't. Weeks went by, and I was so buried in work that I didn't even notice Victoria was up to something, not until the day I heard the unmistakable sound of a brand new engine rumbling into our driveway. I grabbed my coffee and stepped outside, still half-dazed from back-to-back meetings. And nearly dropped my mug. There it was. A brand new, fire-engine red BMW 4 Series convertible. Not just any red either, Vegas red metallic. Victoria hopped out like she was stepping onto the red carpet, grinning from ear to ear, her eyes practically glowing with excitement. "Surprise, babe," she squealed. "Isn't she gorgeous?" I just stood there. Frozen. Trying to make sense of what I was seeing. How the hell had she pulled this off without saying a word to me? "Victoria," I finally managed, my voice distant, like it belonged to someone else. "What is this?" She beamed, running a hand across the hood like she was introducing me to a pet. "It's my dream car. Remember? We talked about this, the convertible?" I blinked. "Talked about it?" I repeated, my voice sharpening. "No, Victoria. We argued about it. And I was very clear that we weren't on the same page." She shrugged. Well, someone had to make a decision. I couldn't just let this opportunity slip by. The anger that had been simmering under my skin for weeks started boiling over. "You couldn't let it slip by?" I repeated, my hands balling into fists. "Victoria, do you even hear yourself? You just dropped 65 grand on a car, without even telling me." She raised an eyebrow, completely unfazed by my reaction. "Daniel, we needed a new car," she said, like she was explaining basic math to a child. "And it's not like I bought it outright. I put down a deposit and financed the rest." I felt my stomach drop. "You financed it?" My voice was dangerously low now. "With what money?" Her eyes flicked to the side for the tiniest second, a flicker of guilt she tried to hide. And right then, I knew. You used our joint account, didn't you? I asked, my tone razor sharp. Victoria didn't even flinch. Of course I did, she said breezily. It's our account, Daniel. We're married. This is our life, our dream. I just stared at her, trying to wrap my head around what she was saying. She had drained our savings. For this. You set up automatic payments, didn't you? I asked, barely recognizing my own voice. Another shrug. Yeah. It's no big deal. No big deal. I could actually feel the rage crawling up my spine. Victoria, I said slowly, carefully, barely holding it together, you drained our account to buy a luxury car we didn't even agree on. You didn't ask me. You didn't even mention it. You just did it, like my opinion doesn't matter at all. She crossed her arms and tilted her head, looking at me like I was the one being ridiculous. Oh, stop being so dramatic, she huffed. I'm your wife. Don't you want me to be happy? I blinked. For a moment, I actually thought I misheard her. She wasn't sorry. She didn't even see what she'd done wrong. I felt something inside me crack. And this time, I wasn't sure it could be fixed. What? Victoria let out a long, exaggerated sigh, the kind you give a kid who just won't drop something. Daniel, you're overthinking this. Nothing bad happened. I got my dream car, and now I'm happy. Isn't that what matters? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. No, Victoria. What matters is mutual respect. You didn't even run this by me. You don't care about my input, my opinion. She rolled her eyes, cutting me off. Oh my God, Daniel. Respect, respect, respect. You sound like you're stuck in the 1950s. Look, your dad might have run the house like some kind of patriarch, but news flash, it's a new world. Women can make decisions now. It's not a big deal. I froze. That hit a nerve. My parents flashed through my mind, how they treated each other, how my mom always valued my dad's opinion, just like he valued hers. That wasn't some outdated tradition. That was basic decency. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Victoria, this isn't about gender roles or whatever you're trying to turn this into. It's about partnership. You don't just bulldoze your way through major decisions and expect me to just smile about it. She shrugged. Daniel, seriously, chill. You're making this way bigger than it needs to be. Nothing's wrong. So why are you so worked up? I had no words. I just stood there, my hands clenching and unclenching, trying to process how casually she was brushing this off. Every instinct in me screamed that this wasn't sustainable. Because if she couldn't even acknowledge the problem, where did that leave us? As she turned and strolled back inside, humming like she hadn't just detonated our marriage, I stayed right where I was, staring at the driveway. My mind started spinning. Is this how it's always going to be? Am I supposed to just shut up and accept being treated like this? Can a marriage even survive without respect? The answers weren't comforting. For the first time, the word divorce crossed my mind. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to consider it. But here I was. And I couldn't keep living like this. Not with someone who didn't give a damn about my feelings, my input, or even the concept of partnership. I ran a hand over my face and let out a long, exhausted breath. What the hell do I do now? The breaking point. Divorce. The word was just sitting there, heavy in my mind, like a storm cloud I couldn't ignore. It's funny how life flips on you. One minute, you think you've found your forever person. The next, you're standing in your own driveway, questioning everything. But here's the thing, divorce isn't something you just jump into. A million thoughts hit you all at once. You start asking yourself all these questions. Am I giving up too easily? Should I fight harder for this marriage? Is it even possible to fix something when the other person doesn't think they've done anything wrong? Because marriage is supposed to be a partnership, right? But how the hell do you make that work when your partner doesn't even respect you? I know some of you reading this are probably shaking your heads like, dude, what are you even waiting for? And hey, I get it. Looking back, I probably do seem like an idiot for dragging this out. Hell, go ahead and tell me in the comments, hey Daniel, how many times has Victoria pulled crap like this? Count 'em up. Also, feel free to call me an idiot for hesitating on the whole divorce thing. But while I was busy having my little philosophical crisis, Victoria decided to up the ante. And let me tell you, what happened next was a whole new level of insanity. Victoria had been living her best life with that shiny red BMW convertible. Every chance she got, she was out, cruising around with her friends. Brunch dates. Shopping sprees. Strutting out of that car like it was a damn trophy. It was like she was starring in a Real Housewives episode. Annoying? Oh yeah. But that wasn't even the worst part. Not by a long shot. But that wasn't even the worst part. No, the worst part came wrapped up in a neat little social media stunt. Apparently, Victoria and her friends thought it would be hilarious to film a series of TikTok and Instagram videos. The concept? They'd pull up next to random guys on the street and start hitting on them. Yeah. Just picture that for a second. They'd roll down the windows of that bright red convertible and shout things like, "Hey cutie, need a ride? Hop in, we're going for a wild night." It was supposed to be a parody, a joke about those sleazy guys who pull up to women in flashy cars, trying to impress them. But instead of coming across as playful and harmless, it was just cringe. Borderline inappropriate. I found out about it the same way everyone else did, on Instagram. And trust me, you had to see it to believe it. Some of the guys in the videos looked completely thrown off, blushing, stammering, awkwardly laughing. Others? Oh, they loved it. Some of them even jumped into the car, grinning like they just won the damn lottery. Now, maybe it was staged. Maybe those guys were actors or just playing along for the content. I mean, this is social media, half of it's fake anyway. But whether it was real or not, I didn't care. The point was, I had to find out about it from the internet. Victoria didn't even have the decency to tell me she was out there making a spectacle of herself. And by extension, me. Can you imagine the second-hand embarrassment? People I knew might have seen those videos. My colleagues might have seen them. And there was my wife, acting like some hormonal teenager, chasing clout for likes and views. I slammed my phone down on the table and rubbed my temples. This wasn't just about a couple of dumb videos. It was about respect. Or the complete lack of it. Victoria didn't respect me. She didn't respect our marriage. And she sure as hell didn't care how her actions reflected on either of us. Something had to give. The last straw. By the time Victoria got home that evening, I was done being passive. No more silent frustration. No more letting things slide. I had watched enough of her antics, and those TikTok videos. That was it. The final damn straw. As soon as she walked through the door, all smiles, as if she hadn't spent the whole day making a fool of herself, I was already standing there, arms crossed, waiting. She barely made it 2 steps before I spoke. "We need to talk." My voice was calm, but there was no mistaking the edge in it. Victoria paused, tilting her head. Then she dropped her purse onto the couch and kicked off her heels like nothing was wrong. Oof, heavy vibes. What's going on? I didn't even blink. Those videos, Victoria. The ones where you and your friends were catcalling random guys on the street. What the hell were you thinking? She blinked at me for a second, then laughed. Laughed. Oh my God, you're talking about the TikToks? Seriously? She waved a hand dismissively. Come on, Daniel. It's just for fun. It's content. Creativity for views. Everyone's doing it. There's nothing bad about it. I inhaled sharply, forcing myself to stay composed. You didn't even tell me about it, Victoria. I had to find out through social media. Why didn't you say anything? She shrugged, completely indifferent. Why would I need to? I'm not obligated to give you a play-by-play of every little thing I do. Play-by-play? I clenched my jaw. Victoria, this isn't little, I snapped. You're out there flirting with random guys, on camera, for the world to see. Do you even understand how embarrassing that is? Do you even care what that makes me look like? She raised an eyebrow. Embarrassing? Oh, please. It's not like I'm cheating on you. We're just filming reactions. That's the point. It's authentic, real reactions from random people. Some of them play along, sure, but there's nothing illegal about that. I exhaled through my nose, my patience hanging by a thread. She really didn't get it. Or worse, she did, and she just didn't care. Wait, you're telling me those guys in the videos are real? Like, not actors? You're actually picking up random dudes and driving them around? Victoria waved a hand like I was the one overreacting. Relax, Daniel. Yeah, a few of them hopped in the car. We talked, laughed, that's it. It's harmless. Harmless. She kept throwing that word around like it was some magic pass that excused everything. I couldn't take it anymore. You don't get it, do you? My voice was tight with frustration. You're putting yourself, and our marriage, on display like it's a joke. You're making me look like a fool. You're making us look like fools. And you don't even care. Victoria rolled her eyes, sighing like she was bored out of her mind. God, you're so uptight. It's not that deep. You need to lighten up. That was it. I couldn't argue anymore. What was the point? She wasn't going to listen. Without another word, I grabbed my keys, brushed past her, and walked out the door. I didn't know where I was going, I just needed space. I ended up at this quiet little bar a few miles away. The kind of place where no one asks questions, where the music's low, and the whiskey's strong. I ordered a drink, sat at the counter, and just stared at the glass for a long time. The frustration. The embarrassment. The complete lack of respect. It was all weighing on me like a ton of bricks. And at that moment, I knew, there was no fixing this. Victoria didn't respect me. She didn't see me as her partner. It was all about her. I pulled out my phone and started searching for divorce attorneys. It felt surreal. Like I was crossing some invisible line I couldn't come back from. And you know what? I was ready. The decision. I stared at my phone, my thumb hovering over the search results. This wasn't just some angry impulse. It wasn't some empty threat. It was a decision. I scrolled through a few options, checking reviews, looking at locations. I needed someone good. Someone who wouldn't just push papers but would make sure I didn't get screwed in the process. It didn't take long before I found one, a lawyer with a reputation for being no nonsense. I shot them a message. Hi, I need a consultation regarding a divorce. Please let me know when you're available. Within 10 minutes, my phone buzzed with a response. We can meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. Let us know if that works for you. That was it. No turning back now. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I was taking control. The meeting. The next morning, I walked into the lawyer's office, feeling like I was stepping into a completely new reality. She was a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, with an air of quiet confidence that told me she'd seen it all. I laid it all out for her. The financial betrayal. The lack of respect. The constant humiliation. She listened carefully, taking notes, nodding as I talked. When I finally finished, she flipped through her paperwork and said, "You can move forward immediately." I exhaled. "You think I have a solid case?" She raised an eyebrow. "Daniel, your wife drained your joint account without your consent, bought a luxury car against your wishes, and is publicly humiliating you for social media clout. You have a very solid case." I nodded slowly, rubbing my hands together. "Okay. What's my next move?" She leaned forward. "First, open a separate bank account and redirect your paycheck there. You need to protect your income and assets immediately. If you're serious about this, we'll draft the documents and file them within the week." I swallowed hard. This was really happening. "Do it," I said. By the time I walked out of her office, I had already opened a new account. No more joint expenses. If Victoria wanted to live her dream life with that BMW, she could do it on her own dime. The papers. A week later, I sat in the living room, the divorce papers in my hands. The house was eerily quiet. No TikTok sounds blaring from Victoria's phone. No endless chatter about her latest big plans. Just silence. I had tried calling her a few times that evening. Of course, she didn't answer. She was probably out again, living it up with her friends, completely oblivious to the fact that her marriage was falling apart. I sat on the couch, staring at the clock, letting the silence settle in. The longer I waited, the more it sank in. This was it. The beginning of the end. I had no idea how she'd react when I handed her those papers. But honestly, I didn't care anymore. I was done being the punchline in her ridiculous, self-absorbed circus of a life. Hours passed. Finally, headlights cut through the darkness, sweeping across the living room window. I heard the familiar sound of a car door shutting. Footsteps on the pavement. But it wasn't Victoria getting out of her flashy red convertible. She had called a driver to bring her home. When the front door swung open, there she was, laughing, stumbling in like she had just won the lottery, clearly wasted. "Hey, Stevie. You're still up," she slurred, grinning like an idiot. She kicked off her heels, letting them clatter against the floor, and staggered inside like she had no cares in the world. I crossed my arms, watching her in disbelief. "You've got to be kidding me." She didn't even register the irritation in my voice. Instead, she flopped down onto the couch, giggling like she was still at the party. "Oh my God, what a night. We were celebrating, babe. Big milestone. 50,000 followers, can you believe it? 50 freaking thousand." She threw her arms in the air like she'd just won an Oscar. "I'm gonna be famous, Daniel. A big-time influencer. Soon I'll be rich, people will recognize me on the street, and then, boom. Advertising contracts. Life is just perfect." I stared at her, barely able to process what she was saying. She was celebrating TikTok followers like she had just cured cancer. My jaw clenched. "Victoria, you have no idea how done I am with this. Done with all of it." She blinked, finally noticing the seriousness in my tone. "What's with the face? Chill out, you're always so serious." I took a slow, steady breath. It was time. "I don't want to stand in the way of your fame, Victoria. So, I'm filing for divorce." The room went dead silent. For a second, I thought, maybe, just maybe, she'd finally snap out of it. But then she laughed. Like, full-on, head-thrown-back laughed. "Oh wow. Are you serious right now?" Divorce? Over what? Because you're feeling insecure? She smirked, shaking her head like I was some pathetic little joke. Oh, Stevie, that's adorable. My stomach turned. This isn't a joke, Victoria. My voice was steady, but my hands were clenched into fists at my sides. I can't do this anymore. Your behavior, your complete lack of respect, it's unbearable. You don't care about this marriage. You don't even try to understand my point of view. She waved me off, rolling her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out of her head. Oh, please. You're such a delicate little flower, aren't you? You just can't handle a strong, successful woman with dreams. That's your problem, Stevie boy. She leaned back, grinning lazily. You're just a sad little man with a bruised ego. Men like you? A dime a dozen. I felt the anger boiling inside me. But I refused to take the bait. I wasn't going to stand here and be her punching bag any longer. Without a word, I turned on my heel and walked toward the guest room. I grabbed a blanket and pillow, threw myself onto the couch, and just lay there, staring at the ceiling. Behind me, I could still hear her rambling, some mix of drunken muttering and more insults. But her words barely even registered anymore. At some point, she stumbled her way to the bedroom, and the house finally fell into silence. I lay awake, my mind racing. Mentally rehearsing what needed to happen next. There was no turning back now. By the time the sun rose, I was already packed. A couple of duffel bags, just the essentials. Everything I needed to get the hell out of this place for a while. I wasn't going to stay here and endure another day of her disrespect. Victoria was still passed out in the bedroom, completely oblivious to the fact that her husband was leaving. Maybe it was fitting. She had ignored me emotionally for so long, why not physically too? I grabbed my bag, locked the door behind me, and drove off without looking back. My cousin had already agreed to let me crash at his place for a while. He didn't ask too many questions, which I appreciated. I needed time. Time to figure things out. Time to get my head straight. Time to prepare for the storm that was coming. Because once Victoria realized I was serious about the divorce, I knew all hell was going to break loose. The fallout. I didn't look back. As I pulled onto the highway, the early morning sun cut through the windshield, but I barely noticed. My mind was racing. My heart was pounding. I was done. Done with Victoria. Done with the humiliation. Done with the circus act that had become our marriage. And the craziest part? I didn't even feel sad. All I felt was relief. When I got to my cousin's place, he didn't ask for details. He just clapped me on the back, handed me a beer, and said, "You're making the right move, man. I don't know how you lasted this long." That hit me. Because, deep down, I knew everyone in my life had seen it. They had watched as I let Victoria steamroll over me. As she embarrassed me. As she took me for granted. But I wasn't that guy anymore. That same afternoon, I met with my lawyer again and signed the divorce papers. No hesitation. No second thoughts. By the end of the day, Victoria was officially served. Victoria's meltdown. I should have expected the reaction. But even knowing Victoria's flair for the dramatic, I still wasn't prepared for what came next. It started with the phone calls. First, a few. Then dozens. Each one went straight to voicemail. Then came the texts. At first, they were confused. "Victoria, Daniel? What the hell is this? Victoria, you served me divorce papers? Victoria, this has to be a joke. Call me. Now." Then, they turned angry. "Victoria, you don't just leave like that. What the F*** is wrong with you? Asterisk. Victoria, oh, so you're gonna be a coward now? Ghost me like a little bee asterisk asterisk asterisk. Asterisk. Victoria, you're making a big mistake, Daniel. I swear to God, you're gonna regret this. And then, the guilt trip started. Victoria, Daniel, please. Just come home. Let's talk. Victoria, I know I've been difficult, okay? But you can't just throw away everything we've built. Victoria, you're my husband. Doesn't that mean anything to you? I didn't respond. I was done talking. That's when she escalated. The social media war. Victoria did what she does best. She took it online. The next morning, my phone blew up with messages from friends, coworkers, hell, even my mom. Dude, have you seen Victoria's latest TikTok? Bro, she's putting you on blast. Check Instagram. It's bad. I should have ignored it. But curiosity got the best of me. I opened Instagram. And there it was. A full-blown sob story about our marriage. Victoria sat in her car, her precious red BMW, tears streaming down her face, dramatically wiping them away as she spoke into the camera. Victoria's caption. Heartbroken, broken heart. I never thought the man I loved would betray me like this. After everything I did for him, he just walked out on our marriage. No explanation. No discussion. Just threw it all away like I was nothing. Please, send love. I need it today. The comments? An absolute circus. OMG, Victoria, you deserve so much better. Men are trash, girl. Forget him. He's just jealous of your success. Some guys can't handle a strong woman. His loss. You're a queen. Crown. I almost laughed. But then she took it even further. The lies. A few hours later, she posted another video. This time, she wasn't crying. She was angry. Alright, guys. I didn't want to do this, but I can't stay quiet anymore, she began, shaking her head like some helpless victim. Daniel walked out on me. And honestly, I should have seen it coming. He was always so insecure about my success. The minute I started building something for myself, he changed. He became controlling, jealous, paranoid. I clenched my jaw. This was complete bullshit. I gave him everything, she continued. I supported him, I loved him, and what did he do? He treated me like a trophy wife. Like I wasn't allowed to have dreams of my own. My fists tightened. And then, she dropped the bomb. Oh, and let's talk about the real reason he left. He was cheating on me. What? I literally choked on my coffee. Victoria knew that was a lie. But in the world of social media, truth doesn't matter, just the narrative. And she was spinning hers flawlessly. The comments section exploded. OMG. He cheated? What a piece of S. Asterisk. Girl, drop his name. We need to ruin him. Typical. Men always leave when they get caught. I was livid. She was dragging my name through the mud. And for what? So she could play the victim? I took a deep breath, my fingers hovering over my phone. I could have fired back. I could have exposed her lies. I could have posted receipts, the financial records, the screenshots, the humiliation she put me through. But then I stopped myself. What was the point? I didn't owe anyone an explanation. I wasn't going to turn my divorce into a spectacle. So I put my phone down, and let Victoria burn herself out. The crash. And oh, did she burn out? Her 15 minutes of social media fame? Yeah, it didn't last. Sure, she got attention for a while, people flooded her comments, hyping her up. But then, the internet moved on. And Victoria? She couldn't keep up. Her follower count started dropping. Her engagement plummeted. The brands that once showed interest in working with her, they backed out. And then, the final blow. Her precious red BMW? Stolen. Yep. One night, someone jacked it right out of her driveway. And to make it even better, they drove it like they were filming a fast and furious chase scene. And totaled it beyond recognition. The cops never found the thief. Her insurance barely covered the damage. And just like that, the car that started all this chaos, gone. My freedom. Meanwhile, I was thriving. I bought my Toyota 4Runner, just like I always wanted. Started going on camping trips, spending weekends in nature, reconnecting with myself. Work was booming, I got a promotion, a raise, a fresh start. And Victoria? She faded into the background. No more flashy posts. No more big influencer dreams. Just another person chasing clout, and failing. And me? I was finally free.